When God created the world out of nothing, he had to produce, he had to invent, he had to create existence. Nothing existed. He had to make things exist. What does it mean that something exists? What does it mean this is? It means it occupies space. To exist means to occupy space. That's the scientific definition. Everything in this universe exists because it takes up space. If it doesn't take up space, it doesn't exist. Even a thought in your head takes up space. That's why when you're thinking, your mind is occupied. An emotion takes up space. Your heart is full. Of course, it's emotional space, which means when you have an emotion, another emotion cannot come into that same space. When you have a thought in your head, you can't have another thought in that same space. You have a book on the shelf, you can't put another book in that place. The book occupies its space. So everything shares the same existence. Water, fire, stones, thoughts, feelings, everything exists by this definition. It occupies space. Another thing about existence is that it has many conditions. To exist, you have many conditions. A person has enough to eat, enough to drink, had a good night's sleep, has a secure home, a roof over his head, has friends, a support system. He has everything. And what does that result in? An existence. In order to exist, you have to eat, you have to drink, you need a house, you need clothing, you need security, you need friends, you need... And when you have all of that, you exist, which means you continue to take up space. Then God gave all existing things a life. The life of fire is not the same as the life of water, although they exist the same way. Life means the effect you have on your surrounding, the contribution you make to the rest of the world. That's life. The contribution of fire, it gives warmth, light, makes things come apart. The life of water, it makes things grow, keeps things cool, and makes things stick together. That's its life. The life of a stone, it gives stability. A house made out of stone is stronger than a house made out of straw, as we all know from non-kosher sources. A human being exists and has a life. Only the human being is conscious of his life. It's not automatic and instinctive, it's conscious. Now, sometimes there's a conflict between my existence and my life. Because some things are better for my existence, not so good for my life. Some things are good for my life, not so good for my existence. For example, the fact that you're all here in this room. If I was here alone, I would have the whole room to myself. And my existence would be rather large. This would be my space. But you come into the room and you destroy it. You ruin my existence. Because, how much existence can you have if you're sharing the space with 100 people? So I hate you. It's not nice what you're doing to my existence. On the other hand, I'm really glad you're here because speaking to an empty room is not a life. So the fact that you're here, my life is better. But the fact that you're here, my existence is ruined. And we're not even married. Can you imagine what marriage is? In the vows under the chuppah, we need to be a little more specific. We need to spell it out. When a man marries a woman, or a woman marries a man, it should be very clear. It should be explicitly stated. You are my chosen one. Of all the people in the world, of all the possibilities in the world, I choose you to be the one person who will ruin my existence. I don't want anybody else ever to ruin my existence. Because what happens, people get married, and 2 weeks later, the guy is complaining, I feel a little cramped. I need room. I'm suffocating. So, you see, should have spelled it out. The vows have to be more specific. Actually, there's a comedian who says, I never understood why at a wedding the bride wears a bridal gown. Nobody else at the wedding is dressed like the bride. But the groom is wearing a tuxedo like every other guy. They rent it all in the same place. Why is that? Yes, I figured it out by listening to the vows. Did you hear the vows that they make? Do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? This man. They don't mention the name. Because if she says no, say, okay, fine. He's dressed, come. Do you take this man? No? Come on, there's got to be somebody you like. See, you got to be more specific. So sometimes existing and living are in conflict. What should I do when they're in conflict? Should I sacrifice my existence or should I sacrifice life? Oh, what kind of question is that? Of course you sacrifice existence. Why? Who needs it? You take up space? That's it? You're going to fight over that? If your spouse needs more space, give it away. Humility in Jewish thinking is never deprecation of life. We never entertain the thought that life is meaningless. God forbid. A moment of life is infinitely precious. The humility is humble your existence. You're proud that you take up space? What is that? You have a right to take up space and then demand all sorts of resources just so that you can continue taking up space? Humble it. Don't do that. It deserves to be humbled. It doesn't have any value. So if you think every song is about you, your existence is out of control. You've spread yourself way too far, and you have to occupy every thought. Every song has to be about you. Rein it in. Too much. In fact, that's what depression is. You see, existing is a little bit depressing by its very nature. It's depressing and it's embarrassing. So, what have you been doing lately? Taking up space. I do it very well. Nobody takes up space like I do. It's embarrassing. Like a lump on the log. And by the way, let's spell it out. What does it mean I take up space? It means you can't come into my space. Get out of my seat. I was here first. This town ain't big enough for the two of us. You know who said that? Cain said that to Abel. There were two human beings in the whole world, and they said, no. It's either me or you. One of us got to go. It's embarrassing. And it's a little depressing because it's so burdensome. Just to exist, you got to eat, you got to sleep. And if you don't eat the right foods, and if you don't drink the right things, and if you don't sleep on your left side, on your right side with your head elevated on a sleep mattress, on an air mattress, oh God, this is so burdensome. So depression means if you add weight to your existence by worrying about it, by fighting over it, by making it important, you're making it heavier. And at some point, your existence becomes so heavy that you can't carry it anymore. And your very existence crushes you like a ton of bricks, and you can't make a phone call, and you can't get out of bed. And your existence is way too heavy. The solution is live. Put energy into living, not into existing. It's a seesaw. It's an amazing thing. When you put energy into living, you don't need to put so much energy into existing. When you put energy into your existence, you have no energy for life. And that's why it's often very helpful when a person is depressed to simply say to them, stop kvetching. Find somebody who has real problems and help them. And that is so curing. It's good. So in that seesaw, we should always sacrifice the existence in favor of the life. In simple words, existing means I have needs. Life means, do you have any needs? Can I be helpful to you? Existing means my needs. Life means who needs me? What am I needed for? What effect, what contribution can I make outside of myself? The previous Rebbe said, what does love feel like? All the poets have been trying forever to describe love. The Frierdiker Rebbe, the previous Rebbe, said, love is like this. You're walking down the street, burdened with your problems. Heavy, heavy. You're dragging your feet because you got so many problems and they're so heavy. And then, without expecting, you meet somebody you love. Your burdens are not so heavy. Your burdens lighten up. It's fine. Because you met somebody you love. Life is buoyant. It carries you. Existence is dead weight. You have to carry it. And it gets heavy. So the solution is choose life. This is the secret to our survival. The other nations that made a vast noise, what did they want? What were they trying to accomplish? They wanted to guarantee their own existence, that the sun should never set on their empire. So they built these fortified cities, they created these huge armies, they amassed great wealth to guarantee their continued existence, and they're gone. Don't exist at all. I was in Rome trying to get to the airport. And if you've been there, you know the pedestrians don't let cars move. So the taxi is sitting there stuck, not in traffic, but in pedestrians. So I said to the taxi driver, I said, these Romans are going to make me miss my flight. He said, these are not Romans. There are no Romans. The only people who are still here from those days are the Jews. It's so true. The Romans are gone. There are no Romans. Why? Because they tried so hard to exist that they killed themselves. We had a different history. Remember in the Torah it says that just before the Jews entered the promised land, Moshe gave them a pep talk. Remember the pep talk? He said, let me tell you what lies ahead. You're going to come into the land, you're going to get comfortable, and you're going to get thrown out. You're going to be scattered to the four corners of the earth. You'll be diminished to a fraction of your number. You will be unwelcome guests in other people's countries. They will pursue you. They will kill you. They will torture you. You're going to be starving. You're going to be confused. You won't know what tomorrow brings. And the people said, is there a point to this? What are you telling us? And Moshe said, forget about existence. Live. Focus on, be busy living, because an existence you're not going to have. Don't even think about it. So that's what our history has been. We barely exist, but we are so alive. In the times when our existence was literally down to the final hair, thread, we produced the greatest saints, the greatest tzaddikim, the greatest scholars, the greatest books, the greatest social structures, charitable organizations. We were so alive, and we barely existed. Even today, we barely exist. Ask any member in the United Nations, have you ever heard of a Jewish state in the Middle East? Never heard of it. It's not on the map. Doesn't exist. What do they talk about every day at the United Nations? How much trouble the Jews are causing. How Israel is messing everything up. For a nation that doesn't exist, we're pretty loud. But that's been our history. So you see, if you don't put a lot of energy into your existence, but you're busy living, the existence somehow just takes care of itself. This is why people have been asking for 5,000 years, why are we here? See, every human being with a little bit of sensitivity is embarrassed by their own existence. I mean, this is it. I take up space. That's it. There's got to be more to it than that. There must be. I take up space, then I make demands. Give me food, give me this, give me that. I need, I deserve, I have to have. And then what? And then I can take up space. Now, God, this is embarrassing. So every decent human being asks, why are we here? Which in different words is, why do I exist? And we ask that question because existing doesn't justify itself. It doesn't add up to anything. Like the bumper sticker, life stinks and then you die. But the mistake is, don't confuse existence with life. The bumper sticker should say, existence stinks. Life never stinks. And that's where we get really confused when instead of asking, why are we here, we ask, what is the purpose of life? Oh, you're confused. The question is, what is the purpose of existence? The answer is life. Life is the answer, not the question. Don't get confused. So what does it mean, I love you, but I don't like you? Oh, it's so obvious. I love you because you're giving me a life. I don't like you because you've ruined my existence. So how do we resolve that? Very simple. Ruin my existence. Go right ahead. I'll be busy living. I'll be busy living. What is death? Life does not die. That's an oxymoron. It's like salt can't go bad. Or like the comedian says, how does sour cream go bad? Life can't die. Life lives. That's what it is. Life is alive. Dead is dead. Death means a person had a life and an existence, and the existence ended. Doesn't take up space anymore. Does not need to eat. Doesn't need to drink. So what's left? Life. Life continues. It doesn't know what else to do. It only has one talent. Life knows how to live. That's it. So when a person's existence is over, his life is relieved. Now I don't have to share my energy. Now I don't have to go on this seesaw of should I put my energy in my existence? Should I try living? Now it's pure life. The only problem is that life is not here. Because to be here, you have to take up space. So where is this life? In the world of life. This earth, the physical plane, is the world of existence. To be here, you have to exist and take up space. Oy, this is what's wrong with teenagers. If you ask any teenager anywhere in the world, what are you angry about? And they'll tell you. They all say exactly the same words in every language in the world. My mother ruined my whole life. It's ruined. My whole life. But that's ridiculous. First of all, life can't be ruined. Thank you. Life can't be ruined. Life only comes in one flavor, and that's delicious. Existence can be ruined. I mean, people have terrible existences, very sad, very painful. And some people have a very comfortable existence. But life only comes in one flavor. You can't ruin life. Life means whatever is going on and whatever your existence might be, you have an opportunity to make a difference, to make a contribution, to do something. How can you ruin that? The second reason that mothers don't ruin teenagers' lives is because teenagers don't have a life. Teenagers have an existence, and it's not even theirs. Like this teenage girl who says, I can't believe it, my mother went into my room. Your room? What, are you paying rent? It's not your room. It's a room your mother lets you sleep in. My mother went through my things. Your things? Nothing there belongs to you. See, but they get confused. Instead of saying, my mother ruined my whole life. They should be saying, my mother ruined my whole existence. And that's true. Mothers ruin your existence. And not maliciously, they can't help it. When an important guy who owns the whole town or the whole island, it's all his space. He is the king. He is the ruler. He is top honcho. And he's sitting at the most important meeting, conducting the whole world. His existence is enormous. And his mother walks in. I know. Where does my existence come from? You carried me for 9 months, and I know, you're right. I owe you my existence. Mothers ruin your existence. You see, this is why you have to honor your mother. Honoring parents, literally, the mitzvah, one of the 10 commandments, how do you fulfill that mitzvah? By adoring them? By sending them a card on Mother's Day? You fulfill the mitzvah of honoring parents by doing menial tasks for them so that they don't have to do it. You carry their bags. You bring the food to the table. You ease their burden and make their existence easier by giving up a little of your existence. So in the 10 Commandments, God says, honor your father and mother, and you will live. When you give up a little of your existence for somebody else's existence, now you're starting to have a life. Now you're alive. When you take a dollar bill that's good for your existence, and you give it to someone who needs it more to help with their existence, what do you have? Life. Now you're alive. Shabbos. God tells us 6 days of the week you should work, but on the 7th day do no labor, which means basically, for 6 days of the week, do whatever you need to do to make your existence easier. If it's broken, fix it. If it's raw, cook it. If it's cold, heat it up. If it's hot, cool it down. Make your existence easier. But 1 day out of the week, 1 day out of the week, stop. Leave your existence alone. It is what it is. It's fine. If you take it too seriously, if you go around the year always working and worrying about your existence, you're going to get depressed. So 1 day out of the week, focus on life by leaving your existence alone. Whatever you bought before Shabbos, that's what you have. You didn't buy it, you don't have it. Whatever got cooked, that's what you have. You didn't cook it, so fine. Your existence is fine. It really is. Even when it's minimal. Even when Jews lived in a ghetto, when Jews lived in poverty, but Shabbos, I got no problems. I'm content with my existence, it's fine. We focus on life. Why did God create the world? In the very simple way of putting it, God's perfection, when we say God is perfect, He's infinite, we're talking about His existence. He always was and He always will be, and He occupies all the space. It's all His. But like the husband, He came to us at Mount Sinai and said, I can exist without you. I'm really good at it. I have an infinite existence. I existed infinitely before you. I will exist infinitely after you. My existence is great. But without you, what's the point? Existence without a life? The existence itself demands a purpose, a content. And the more perfect you are, the more you need a life to justify all that perfection. In some way, affluent people, successful people, are more likely to get depressed than people in third world countries. Because when your existence is fine, then it hits you like, what for? So what? Now what? And if you don't ask it, your children will ask it. Okay, fine, so? People who are still trying to improve their existence don't get depressed. People whose existence is already fine, now they have to face the question. And so? That's what a midlife crisis is. You're going along, doing fine, you're halfway there, and going to crisis. What is that all about? When you get halfway there, it means that pretty much your existence is going to be what it is. If you hadn't made your first million by now, you're not going to make $1 million. So your existence kind of stops being a challenge. And then you have to figure out, what's my life? Now I got to get a life. This is why we say l'chaim. You know what happens when we drink? I mean, you may have read about it. When people drink and get drunk, their existence relaxes. They say your inhibitions relax. Oh, I hope not. Your existence relaxes. And this is factual, this is true, because how do you know if somebody is drunk? If they're still standing up? You know, because when he wants to talk to you sober, he stands over here. In America. In South America, it's different. South America, they stand here. But when they get drunk, they stand here. And you back away, and they follow you. Now you know he's drunk, because he doesn't take up space. He's lost his sense of space. You go to buy a sofa, and the salesperson says to you, here's a nice sofa. This will seat 4 people comfortably. It's not enough information. It will seat 4 sober people comfortably. It'll also seat 9 drunk people comfortably. Because drunk people don't take up space. Isn't that a fact? Would it be cute to see 9 drunk guys on a sofa, sober up at the same moment? Drunk people don't take up space. Because it relaxes your existence. That's why you never drink when you're in a bad mood. If you're not excited about life, don't drink. That's the worst thing you can do. Because if you're not excited about life, all you have is your existence. You don't want to relax it, because then you're left with nothing. On Purim, we assume you're in a good mood. Then you can have a few drinks. At a wedding, if you're enjoying it, then you can have a few drinks. When you're excited about life, then you want your existence to leave you alone so that you can celebrate life fully. So you say l'chaim, meaning not I don't want to die. You're saying to life rather than existence. So I am going to drink this because I'm excited about life. L'chaim. Don't look for gimmicks. Life is happy. Existence is not. You want happiness? Live. You don't have to do anything to make yourself happy. Live. Life is happy. Existence, even if it's really good, is somewhat depressing. L'chaim. We choose life. And because we choose life over existence, we will exist forever, because we don't care. We don't care about our existence. We're busy living, and life cannot die. Make sense? L'chaim. Shalom Aleichem. How are you? You know, I do a lot of talking, a lot of Zooming, many classes, many subjects, but that's all formal stuff. Hopefully good stuff, but formal. We also have a Wednesday night meeting that's more informal and kind of Hamish. If you want to join us for that kind of an event, interactive, time for questions and so on, if you want to join us for this side of conversation, click on the link below and join us every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Well, maybe not every Wednesday night, but we try to make it every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, a more informal chat, which can be more enjoyable at times than the formal stuff. So check it out. Click on the link and join us. Try it, you'll like it.